go-karts just don't have enough speed to make a go-kart thread interesting, considering it's mostly straights. It's raining indoors. Man, this is really cool. Feels like a proper indoor go-kart track with the lights and stuff. Like, the only thing that's ruining the immersion is the rain indoors. Maybe it should be set to clear weather by default. Like, considering we've had kart tracks on PC, because the functionality has been in the game, just only with like mods and dev creator stuff. Like, what took them so long? What was the reasoning behind the decision not to just enable it? Like, Rockstar shit themselves in the foot a little bit. Because can you imagine them making stuff like this available when go-karts were released? Like, all the hype of go-karts being released has died off at this point. Yes, some people might still be interested in doing it, but, you know, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. If they actually gave a thought to it, they would have this available the moment go-karts were released. So there's the novelty that, hey, go-karts are in the game now. And then they follow it up with a post a week later with the great creations that the community have made for go-kart races. And they get people involved in that too. Like, what's the point in waiting for a year? And getting all the general negativity for adding go-kart races with nothing to do in them. No cohesion of thought with their content, indeed. And if you're waiting for something key to be added, so to allow it to be accessible in the creator, which isn't true because they had PC modding and stuff, had go-kart races available almost immediately. But if they were, you just don't release the go-karts until the creator stuff is ready. But they're not involved. Like, that's what a company would do if they were involved in the community and, you know, like you say, had some cohesion of thought with their content and releasing and stuff like that. I bet they wouldn't even know where to look to get good go-kart races like this. That's why the Rockstar Verified stuff always used to be just garbage tracks. It's a shame, because the go-karts are quite fun, and it would be really great to have tracks like this be showcased by Rockstar when the hype is there for go-karts. Put the Vito modded on the podium in the casino, for example. I think they did that, didn't they? Or was it the Vito Classic they offered for free when it was released? Like, you release it, offer it for free, say, put the other one on the podium, and then the week after, follow it up with, hey, here's a load of tracks that you can bookmark. to use your new kart. So much more engagement with that. Like, who cares now about kart races, except the very few in our little racing community niche who might create some tracks like this that are awesome, and then they don't get very far beyond that. The sort of thing that you want, the vast majority, you know, you want the greater GTA community to be able to experience stuff like this, to see, you know, this is the sort of thing that can be done in the creator. This is the kind of fun that you can have. You can use your go-kart races on something worth using rather than just, you know, terrible tracks that people might try to create themselves, or nothing for a year, just using them in free roam. I guess none of that brings any money, but then it does. Like indirectly it would, getting people more involved in the game and keep people interested. Too short-sighted, or just don't care enough. Great track, Drew, but this is good fun. We'll definitely add kart tracks to the content creator community verified program when it returns, because if Rockstar aren't going to showcase tracks, it's something that we've got to do. It'll be striking after the iron is hot, of course. And the interest might not be as high as it would have been when they were first released. But this is why the community verified program exists in the first place, because frankly, I do a better job at showcasing the community's creations than Rockstar do, and that's a damn shame. Ripperonis. I managed to keep second. It was a very lucky second, to be honest. A stupidly annoying part of the karts being released is that to enable them on tracks in the creator, you have to test all the tracks again. Took me over an hour yesterday to enable 2 cars on my tracks. I know, right? The same thing was true when open wheelers were released. That's why I haven't done them on a lot of my tracks, just because I don't have the time to maintain them anymore. It's like, you can't just select to have open wheels be available. You've got to retest the track entirely to be able to republish it. It's like little oversights like this. It's so annoying, and so many things in the dev creator that we don't get access to. It's so frustrating. Rockstar could be so better with the community, and it's always been the case, but it feels like they've gotten worse over the last like 2 or 3 years. They've just closed themselves off so much. The process that you have to go to, the creators have to do for every single track just to update for go-karts, and they've had to do this 3 times recently for open wheel class, tuners, and now go-karts. At least for me, because I haven't updated the track in so long, I can just add everything all at once, and I only need to test it once. Open wheel, go-kart, tuner, all available, but I've got to test it before I can publish it. Do this with every single track that you own and you've created. Like, I've got like 30 tracks or something. This is why I never update them, because I just don't have the time to spend a couple of hours having to test all the track and then do it all again on Xbox and then do it all again on PC. Like, it's just not possible. Oh yeah, and when you've got secondary checkpoints on the track, you've got to test it again for the secondary checkpoint route. And creators have like hundreds of tracks. I don't have many, really. Even I don't have the time. It doesn't matter so much with like the pre-existing classes, because even if you don't update the the available vehicles, that only matters for stock versions. Like, I don't have the Weevil selected, but if you have a custom Weevil, you can still use a custom Weevil when you select compacts. It's the new classes that just aren't available full stop. Like, there's no way to get open wheels or go-karts or tuners on the track if you haven't updated it to include those vehicles. It's so outdated, this track, but it's kind of amazing to actually be racing a go-kart around the kart track that was created. This was created back in like 2014. We're gonna have to do a race. Oh, not good on the bump. Los Santos GP kart track. It's kind of surreal to be racing karts around here. Oh, I'm still in first person. I'll do first person. We always used to do first person back in the day. I thought it was a good idea back in the day, like... Does not like the bump. We had Los Santos GP, the main track, that I created in like 2014. And then we had like the inner loop, the outer loop, the upper loop and the lower loop, like shorter variations of real set, like, you know, you see that with real circuits, like shorter variations of, you know, the shorter variations of Silverstone and things like that. And I wanted to do the same thing with my tracks, and that's still something that we've got. Oh, it's locked to first person. I think it's locked to first person. I can't change camera. You can cheat, obviously, but okay, I'll keep first person. But then there was a kart craze back in like 2015, I want to say, where people started creating kart tracks using, you know, like the black sticky tire barriers that you would never use for a racetrack these days. Like, this is so outdated. Oh my god. Oh my god. And we used to use bifters to do kart races, and it was actually good fun. Obviously, it was just like a little bit of a phase in the racing community, like a little bit of a fun fad, and it died off. But the LSGP kart track came from that, where again it uses parts of the full Los Santos Grand Prix circuit and then the kart track around it. And I just thought it was just such a nice, like this is the main straight of the Los Santos GP circuit, and the idea that you can have a kart circuit around it is pretty fun. But we were never able to actually race karts around it. Now we are. I'll do one lap in third person just so we can see it. Ow. Yeah, if anyone didn't know, you can, if it's locked to first person a track, you can cheat it by holding circle. And this was back when LSGP used to have this hairpin at the end. It doesn't have that anymore. So that was part of the main circuit too. But it's kind of surreal to actually be racing karts around it, like 6 years later. We used to have to deal with bifters. Maybe with any next-gen recreations of Los Santos GP, we're obviously going to have the upper loop and the lower loop as the shorter variations like we've always had with the new gen versions. But maybe we'll bring back the kart track, since we can actually have karts on it now, but brought up to modern standards. It actually works for karts, like, you know, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but yeah, the karts actually do work around the kart track that was created 6 years ago without the knowledge that karts were ever going to be a thing. 2015 Bruffy ahead of his time, indeed. I mean, it worked for bifters, but the bifters were just a little bit too quick. Like, I think the layout is pretty sound. If I was to recreate it now, obviously there would be smoothing going on and, you know, all the more modern techniques, not sticky black tyre barriers and get rid of that jump, for example. But the layout still works for karts. Like I said, it's kind of surreal to be racing them around here after all this time, finally. So outdated though as a track. Cool. Memories there, I know, right? So many memories. There's probably still some videos on the channel of kart racing. I probably did like a discussion video or something about kart racing being the new craze. And then I'm sure I will have done a track showcase of LSGP, including the kart circuit. And finally we can race karts on the kart track after 6 years.